Action.
Hello, my name is Carlin McLellan. I live in Newcastle, Australia. I have motor neuron disease. I was diagnosed in 2019, originally with ALS, or upper motor neuron disease, also known as amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. This is my wife, Carrie, who does everything for me and is my primary carer. Today, we're going to show you how I do, or Carrie does, a PEG feed. Okay, Carrie, over to you.
Okay, so Kim had his PEG inserted a year ago, and up until about a month ago, we were just flushing it daily. But Kim is now having his meals through the PEG, so that's what I'm going to demonstrate today. So I'm just going to lie Kim back so he's in a relaxed and comfortable position.
When we flush the PEG, it's just with lukewarm tap water. Okay.
So I'll show you Kim's PEG, which is a plastic tube that's inserted directly into the top of his stomach. We have it taped down just so it doesn't get caught up in his clothes. When I do the PEG feed, I just take one piece of tape off so we can insert the food.
Zoom back.
Yeah. Oh, I'll show them the parts, sorry. I'll just show you the parts of the PEG. So this is called the Y port, and this is where I'll put the syringe that I then put the food through. This is the little valve that opens and closes to let the liquid through, close it to stop it. And this is called the plastic disc, and that stops the PEG from pulling out of his stomach and pulling all the way in. So important to give that a bit of a twist when you clean it each day with a bit of soapy water, just to make sure it doesn't get stuck to his skin.
The plastic tube you can't pull out. It's got a big round disc on the inside of my stomach. The stoma is quite robust. You can push and pull it, and the tube doesn't come out. You roll on it, you put your hands on it, and it doesn't hurt. Okay, boss.
So this is a stand that Kim has designed and had made just out of a piece of flat aluminium, and we've cut a slit in the arm of Kim's wheelchair, and that just holds the syringe. We have a 60ml syringe, sits in the stand, and the stand helps, just means I don't have to stand and hold the syringe for the 10 minutes or so that it takes to put the feed through Kim's tube. So when I was talking about flushing the tube, that just means you use some warm water, and before each feed we start off with about 50 mils of warm water to make sure that the PEG tube is clear and nothing's going to get stuck in it. Give it a bit of a squeeze, let that run through. Close off the valve when it gets to the bottom. And this is the food that Kim uses. It's got protein, carbohydrate, fibre, everything that a complete meal needs. And we purchased that through a special prescription that the dietitian writes for us. So Kim has 3 of these bottles per day, breakfast, lunch and dinner, and that's to maintain his current weight.
I currently weigh 75 kilograms. Okay, boss.
So I've given it a shake, and we open up the valve and pour the food in. You could put it into a jug, but it's a fairly small bottle and goes.
If you come around this side, and you can see as the food is going down the syringe, we had used a 60 millimeter syringe that's just what was handy. Ideally, you could use a 100 ml syringe or whatever your dietitian provides you with.
So it's good to let the feed run through relatively slowly, just so Kim doesn't get a immediately full tummy. And it usually takes about 10 minutes for the 200 mils of feed to go through.
And you can change how quickly it flows by adjusting.
You can, yes. So if this feed is fairly thick and it runs fairly slowly without closing off the valve, but if you have something runnier like just water, you can close the valve to constrict the flow. On the Y port, the other part of the Y is if you need medication, you can crush that up and put it through the other half of the what's called the Y port.
It's called a Y port because it looks like a letter Y.
I was going to ask you why.
Oh, now you know.
Sometimes Kim has extra fibre. We use a product called Benny Fibre, which is just a powder, and I usually put that into the feed and shake it up to put that through the tube. So Kim says he can't feel the food going in, but one day I had the water a little warm and Kim could feel that it was warm.
The bottle of food is 200 grams or 200 mils. So we put in 2 lots of 60 mils, so there'll be just a third lot to go in, and that will complete the feed in a couple of minutes. This sure tastes good today. This is my favorite lunch, neutral.
We've had friends come along and they've smelt the food, haven't actually tasted it, but apparently it smells just like up and go, the breakfast drink.
It's probably the same thing, just in a different bottle, right?
It could be. I haven't done the comparison of the nutrients, but it could very well be the same thing. Oh, and this comes in different flavours. Today we have neutral flavour, but you can get it in coffee, chocolate, strawberry, vanilla.
Salted caramel.
I'm not sure about salted caramel, but
I've spoken to the dietitian. She said that it's also okay to put wine or spirits in the PEG feed, but of course it should be done in moderation, as any drinking would be.
you haven't actually tried any wine through
No.
the tube? No.
Not yet.
Just let it go down a little more. And so the idea about flushing the tube at the start is just to make sure the tube's clear and the food can go through. And when we're finished, I'll flush again with warm water. And we run quite a bit through because over time, if any food stays in the tube, it can get mouldy. And so it's important to make sure that it's quite clear once all the feed has been put through.
When we flush at the end of this delicious meal, we flush 30 mils of fresh tap water, 30 mils of fresh tap water, and a final flush of 60 mils fresh tap water, and that cleans up the tube nicely. Also, it's a good source of my daily fluid intake. So 30 plus 30 plus 60, 120 mils of water, which you count in my overall fluid intake. If I've had a day of low fluid intake, we can add just straight water in the PEG feed tube at any time. Currently, I drink a cup of tea in the morning that has thickening in it, and some days I have a coffee as well. Otherwise, everything else goes through the PEG feed tube. I don't eat normal food anymore.
While that's running through, I'll show you the tape that we use to tape Kim's PEG down to his tummy. It's a low stick tape, so you can get that at the pharmacy, and it's a papery kind of tape. It's important not to have something that's too sticky, otherwise because we're taking the tape on and off daily, it could damage his skin. So it's a one for very sensitive skin and a low stick.
Also, I think the tape is permeable so that it breathes and that allows the air or oxygen to get to your skin surface instead of using a sort of a waterproof tape that would cut off all air to the skin, allowing the skin. This tape allows the skin to breathe.
So you can see Kim's tummy's in pretty good condition still.
A bit fat. I used to be a cyclist with no fat, but these days this is the new normal.
And just while that's finishing off, I will show you about the taping down of the PEG. So as you can see, you zoom in a little, the PEG has a tendency, the disc, to, if you tape it wrong, to dig into Kim's skin. So it's important when you're retaping it to make sure it's sitting flat. And the best way we've found to do that is to have a bit of a hump and then tape it so that the disc will sit flat on Kim's tummy and it's not digging in with the disc on its side.
Pull it out so you can see the stoma.
Oh, yep. So you can see the stoma is the opening that just goes straight into Kim's tummy. So you can see it all just heals around and no discharge or anything coming out of that.
Some days there can be a slight watery discharge around the plastic tube. For us, this has not been a cause of concern. The opening has never been infected. When they put the plastic tube in, it was only a 20-minute procedure, not under general anesthetic, but under sedation. And it was very straightforward. When they put the plastic tube in, they don't even have a stitch at the end. It's just a small hole to put the plastic tube through. There are other types of exit you can get. Some are shorter and a little more compact, but speak to your specialist who can explain all the different types to you.
So I try not to let any air in. It's not going to kill Kim if a bit of air goes in, but usually when it gets close to the bottom, add the first lot of water. And I give the tube a bit of a squeeze to make sure that the food is going through. You do it in a couple of lots just so that the syringe will get rinsed and the plastic tube as well.
When we flush, we use just normal, clean tap water that is lukewarm. We flush with 30 mils, then 30 mils, then 60 mils. The amount is a bit arbitrary. We chose those amounts. It's what suits us. And the dietitian agreed with what we were doing.
So when we get near the end, I usually close off the valve, unscrew it. So it's a screw, the syringe into the top of the Y port. So the valve is closed, and then close the Y port as well. And we take out the stand and tape Kim back up. Do you want the taping?
Yeah.
It's low stick, but it seems to like to stick to me. So get it as flat as I can. One piece of tape to hold it flat. Just make sure the valve is lying flat on Kim's tummy, not sticking in with the pointy end. So lying nice and flat. And the other piece of tape I put near the Y port, otherwise it tends to get tangled up in Kim's t-shirt, so just over the end. And we're done.
Shoot down.
Yep,
That was a delicious lunch.
My compliments to the chef.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And today is Sunday, the 7th of January, 2014.
24.
I'm living the past, 2024. Thank you.
Bye.